but their ego is so inflated and they only want to hear good things. And anytime you tell them something bad, you're a jerk, you're the target, you're a problem. And that doesn't mean you actually are bad or you said something wrong necessarily. It's that they couldn't handle the heat, and so they kicked you out of the kitchen. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Missy. I'm a life and relationship coach, and on the channel we get to the root of the issue and we learn how to heal and deal. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the fam. And if you already are a subscriber, you know I appreciate you so much. So today I thought we would talk about things that cause a narcissist to go into a rage. Now, why would we care about these things? It's not necessarily to teach you so you don't do these things. It's more so to help validate you, to see the rational things that cause them to go into a rage. So you can understand that it's not you, and when you listen to these things and you think from an outside perspective outside of your situation, you're like, wow, that sounds ridiculous if someone's getting angry. Bingo, you can see in your situation about how irrational it is, because when you're in the situation, it's hard to see if that this person's being irrational because you're being gaslit so much, you're being manipulated so much, you're being criticized so much to the point where you feel like you have lost your light and your own individuality and your own ability to think, and you're being forced to think the way the narcissist forces you to think. So again, if you want to have some clarity and a little bit of understanding about things that cause them to go into a rage, this video can be helpful for you to know how to protect yourself, how to know, okay, if this does happen, or you know, I do have some of these behaviors, or I do some of these things, I know to protect myself and know, hey, they're going to explode. Now, you can, you know, use this information to your advantage to figure out ways to not cause them to go into rage, especially if you're trying to get out of the situation. But this isn't to protect them, this is to protect you and not to try to fix them. Because again, remember, if you need to go back to some of my old videos, your goal should never be to try to change them or work with them, because you literally can't. They are impossible to work with. So you don't have to care what makes them angry, it's more so caring for yourself to protect yourself. So to understand a little bit further, for the people that maybe they're new to narcissism and their rages, is narcissists go through an abuse cycle where they love bomb, then they devalue you, then they discard you, and they do this to you over and over again. In the times of devaluing you, they can go into what feels like at random rages, and you can't always 100% pinpoint what is causing them to go into a rage, because sometimes something will be fine and other times it will cause them to explode. But generally, some of these things that we're talking about today are things that consistently can make them very angry, because it triggers their ego and their shame to come out, and they don't want their shame to come out, so that's why they go into these rages, to try to protect their insecurities and their shame. They don't want it to come out, because the minute it comes out, that's reality, and they always want to suppress reality and not let it be in front of everyone. The biggest thing they're trying to do is avoid any type of judgment, or they don't want to not be accepted by society. They are deeply wounded, insecure people that mask it by being this image that they put out. So the first one is being held accountable for their actions. Oh boy, this is one of the reasons why they gaslight, is because you can have all the receipts, you can have the proof in front of them, you can point out something they did wrong, but no matter what, they're not going to sit and self-reflect, because they cannot self-reflect. They do not have the ability to do that. They don't have that did not form in their brain as a child. So because they can't self-reflect and they can't look at themselves, if you try to hold them accountable, they will explode on you, because they're trying to deflect from being held accountable, or they are trying to hide what they have done. And you can hide that by having this big explosive episode and turn it around on you and deflect and act like you are the problem or you're crazy for pointing this thing out. So that's why there's no point in trying to correct them or have a conversation about how they're in the wrong or what they're doing, because it's just going to cause you to deal with further abuse. You can know yourself what they're doing and just keep that to yourself, but pointing it out to them, the main reason why we point things out and try to hold people accountable is because we want them to change. Narcissists can't change, so that's why you don't try to change them. You more so set boundaries. That's a whole other topic, and I'll leave it right here for people that want to learn more about how to set boundaries with a narcissist. But there's absolutely no point in trying to hold them accountable. You're just going to deal with backlash and like the obsessiveness of them trying to make you apologize, or they're gonna follow you around and scream at you and tell you that you're making stuff up and you're rewriting history, whatever it is, whatever their choice of abuse is. There's no point. The next thing is disrespect. Now I use quotations of disrespect because if you notice, if you have a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic partner, you'll notice that they think the weirdest things are disrespect. Like, it could be as random as answering a question. They think that's disrespectful. It's just having a mind of your own can be seen as disrespectful. The weirdest things are disrespectful. So, and it's not true disrespect. They just use that as a weapon and a tool. So when they feel disrespected, whatever the hell it is that they've made up is disrespectful, that's when they will spiral and they will go into some sort of rage. They will obsess about how you disrespected them, and disrespect is a huge hit to the ego. Even if it's made up disrespect, when they feel like they have that hit to the ego, they need you to make amends and make up for it and know that you are, whatever they believe, that you're worthless or you can't amount to anything or whatever. They can say some pretty horrendous stuff when they feel like they're disrespected, whatever this made up disrespected is. The next is being criticized. It's so important in life to have some type of constructive criticism, because that's how we grow and we change and we improve. But narcissists do not care about improving or changing and growing. They only care about growing and changing in their with what aligns with their delusional, reality. It's not even reality. Their delusional perspective, whatever you want to say. So that could be they want to be growing in making their body a certain way, or growing with shallow things like money or whatever it is. They usually want to grow when it comes to surface level things versus like in-depth becoming a better person. And if they do talk about trying to be a better person, it usually is just all talk and all image of what looks good. But if you notice, they don't put the actual work into things. It looks like they know what they're talking about, but when it comes to their actions, none of their actions show that they are doing what they talk about. Now don't get me wrong, not everyone can walk the talk. Not everyone can talk the talk and walk the walk. Like, we all can be hypocrites at times, but with narcissists, they're constant hypocrites. To the point where you're just like, what are you saying? You don't do anything you're saying. So if you criticize them for, doing something wrong, again, it goes back to that shame, and they're trying to hide ever being wrong. They can't. It takes a lot of security and self-love to be able to be like, listen, like, I suck in these areas, or I did wrong, or I'm bad in this area, whatever it is. It takes a lot of self-love and feeling good about yourself to be able to admit those things. And anyone that tries to hide things about them, or the wrong or the bad that they've done, they have a lot of shame and insecurity, and they are afraid of not being accepted by the world. So that's why any type of criticism, even if it's constructive, they can't handle it. Their ego is so inflated and they only want to hear good things. And anytime you tell them something bad, you're a jerk, you're the target, you're a problem. And that doesn't mean you actually are bad or you said something wrong necessarily. It's that they couldn't handle the heat, and so they kicked you out of the kitchen. The next is being exposed. So what does that mean? That means that something happened where their mask got warped a little bit, or you know, part of their mask got chipped off, and people outside of their, you know, abuse cycle saw what the narcissist didn't want them to see. Maybe you said something, you made a remark or a passive-aggressive comment, or something happened where they are now exposed. They will freak out. That's when, you know, a lot of smear campaigns happen where they have to turn around and make you look like the bad person. That's when they may discard you because you have figured them out now, and that's when they have to get rid of you and make sure that people know not to believe the bad things you're saying about them, because they don't want their image to be tarnished. They need their image in order to feel good, in order to thrive. Their image is the #1 top priority in their life. Now, do a lot of us care about our image? Absolutely. But with narcissists, their image is something that they use to their advantage. And this is where they can manipulate people. This is where they can trick people. This is where it makes them feel good because they have this certain image of how people view them. Whereas other people, like, they obviously don't want embarrassing things about them out there, but they don't torment others if, you know, something comes out. Maybe they make a joke about it, or they, you know, are like, oh, I didn't want people to know, like, I'm embarrassed. Like, maybe they'll be a little bit vulnerable. Narcissists don't do that. They immediately make it seem like whoever exposed them is crazy in some sort of way, or is lying, or is out to get them. The next one is when someone else is the center of attention. A lot of narcissists, not all types of narcissists, there's covert narcissists that don't necessarily care to be the center of attention, but classic textbook, they love being the center of attention. They like all eyes on them. They like things to be about them. They're egocentric. And when things are not about them, when someone steals the spotlight, like maybe it's someone's birthday or graduation, or it's someone's baby, you know, gender reveal, whatever it is, they can become furious, but they may not show how furious they actually are, and they may try to find ways to make it about them. Maybe I've heard stories about narcissists like eating the cake before everyone else ate the cake, like finding out the gender first, or like ruining it I was talking about if it's a baby gender reveal, they, you know, tell the gender like, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't know, you know, like they play dumb. Or they maybe will tell someone they look ugly on their wedding day. They will somehow, some way try to ruin that person's day. And even if it's negative attention, they still can't help themselves because they have emotional control of a small child. So they need to get it out some way, and that's when they will go into some sort of rage. Even if it seems like it's not a huge rage, it could be a passive aggressive one, or one where it's just little subtle things, or you can see that they're getting their rage out. The next one is not having access to the person they target. So, you know, as we know, narcissists, they'll generally have one target who they, you know, target the brunt of their abuse. And so when they're targeting someone, if they can't have access to that person, if they don't get the exact things that they want, whether that it could be like money, it could be favors, it could be whatever they want at the time, if they don't have access, if they can't reach them on the phone, they're entitled and they need instant gratification, like a small child, probably worse than a small child, and because they're adults, and they will have a complete rage attack, freak out, say mean things, whatever it is. And they firmly believe that when they reach out to someone, or if they want something from someone, they should get it the exact time that they had demanded it. There is no waiting, there's no patience, there's no empathy or understanding, because they don't have that empathy or that understanding. They want it when they want it, and they want it now. So that is completely irrational, and No human can cater to someone like that. Not even nurses at hospitals can do that. So they have incredibly unrealistic expectations, even if they try to make you feel guilty or feel bad for not getting back to them. And them always making it seem like it's an emergency. It's not. They'll be fine. They can call 911 if it's an emergency or if it's urgent, or, you know, you're allowed to be human and you don't have to be on constant call. That is completely unfair and unrealistic.
Unfortunately, my baby woke up and I had to pause the video and I could not finish. So next thing that causes narcissists to go into rage is being told no. They hate not getting their way. This again goes into their entitlement of thinking that they are entitled to people and taking advantage of others. This has to do with their This has to do with their entitlement of believing that they should always have access to people again. And they cannot stand boundaries. When they are denied something they want, it can be perceived as a significant blow to their self-esteem and sense of control. This leads to that intense anger. Boundaries are for people to keep them safe. It's letting others know what they will and won't tolerate. And narcissists don't like the idea of others having the ability to keep them out of things or have the ability to say no, because then they feel they no longer can control or manipulate that person. So anytime you say no, anytime you have some sort of boundary, even though it is not wrong in any sort of way, they cannot handle it. And they will make you feel guilty and terrible for saying no, even though you are allowed to say no at any point in time. Their demands are often ridiculous and unrealistic, and they treat people as things rather than people. And the last thing is having a setback. So we talked about, you know, narcissists, they don't have goals to be better people or to improve in their life. When they feel they have a setback, it's because they weren't able to manipulate or control someone. They didn't feel like they were able to successfully, you know, climb the ladder in corporate, or they weren't able to, you know, get hold of someone's money, whatever it is. When they feel like they had a setback where they didn't achieve the thing that they were trying to achieve, that usually surface level, shallow thing, they spiral and they will take it out on you or anyone that they feel got in the way or caused them to have the setback, because they don't look at themselves. Well, I mean, their goals are usually ridiculous, but they don't look at themselves and say like, oh, I did X, Y, and Z, this is what I can do to improve. No, it's always, this person did this thing to me and they caused me harm and now I'm going to attack them. So these are some things, and there's many more. These are some things that cause narcissists to go into a rage. And these are things that you can be aware of to know you are not insane and they are not valid. And so again, you can use this information to know how to stay away from their rages, or you can use this information to know, hey, they're generally invalid. What do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. I gotta go deal with this chaos. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
Got 3 more. Oh, that is the number 3. I'm sleep deprived. I almost wasn't able to do this video tonight because my baby could feel when I wasn't in the room. So, but we're getting it done. Hopefully I'm also making sense. I feel like I'm blabbing a little bit tonight, but I'm trying, you know, I'm trying.